Hey, welcome to Truthfully Speaking with Dr. Nay podcast, brought to you by CKJ Live, inspiring everyday people, enlightening them with life-changing information, and empowering them to live in truth. In the words of Nova Bordelon from the popular TV show Queen Sugar, speaking truths start conversations. Well, let's get ready to have some necessary conversations to create some necessary life changes. Join me in Truthfully Speaking. Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Dr. Nay, with Truthfully Speaking, the podcast. Super excited to have you all with us this evening. Thank you, Juan, for, if this is your first time, if this is your second time coming with us, thank you for joining us for episode 3. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And for those that don't know, mental health awareness has traditionally been kind of pegged as something that dealt with our clinical issues or, having some type of clinical diagnosis. But tonight, we're going to talk about clinical health in a different way. We'll talk about mental health. We'll talk about self-care in a different way. So I'm super excited for that. Just a brief announcement. Tonight's show, we'll have our special guest. We'll introduce our special guest. But for those that don't know, if this is your first time, the Truthfully Speaking with Dr. Nay podcast is simply an outlet that I have created, pinned from my book, Truthfully Speaking. That's my very first book, and I am an author. I have co-authored 3 books, but Truthfully Speaking with Dr. Nay, the podcast is a spinoff from the original book, and that podcast essentially is an opportunity for me to create a platform for everyday people that are doing some really amazing, dope things. It's an opportunity for them to share things that they're passionate about. So I am super excited. I won't keep us any longer. I'm going to bring on tonight's guest. Our guest for today is Mr. Scott Riley. Scott Anthony Riley and I go way back to college at Lewis University. And Scott is a really good friend. He's doing some really amazing things around the subject of mental health in a very non-traditional way. It's basically about self-care and being proactive with your self-care so that on the back end, you don't have to deal with a lot of things. And so I'm really excited. I'm going to let him come on and talk a little bit more about his movement. Scott is a father. He's in education at KIPP. The KIPP schools here in Chicago on the West Side. He is from the West Side, tried and true, always boast about K-Town, from the South Side. So I got a different boast about me, but super excited to have my brother here. And I'll come on, bring him on the show. And if you're in, feel free to use the chat box. We do reply to the chat box here on Truthfully Speaking with Dr. Nay. So feel free to drop your questions in, drop your comments in. If either one of us say something that you can vibe with or that you have an experience with, drop a ashe or amen or some emojis in the chat, just so we know we with you and so that we know that you're with us. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my dear brother, Scott Riley here, Scott Anthony Riley.
Hey.
Hello. Hey, welcome to the show.
What's up, Dr.
Welcome.
Nay? I mean,
What's
doctor.
Right.
Dr. Nay.
It used to be Miss Mo back in the day. You used to call me Miss Mo, right?
No more Miss Mo. It's all just doctor.
Man, it's all good. Always Nation, if nothing else. Thank you for being with us this evening. Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to drop your social media handles in here so folks can follow you. Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely drop that. So tell us a little bit about yourself. And when I say about yourself, I want to know, like, man, who is Scott Riley? Like, where did he grow up at? Like, talk to me. What's that about?
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm just a regular guy. Born and raised Chicago, through and through. I love my city. West Sider all day, like you said, K-Town. But yeah, I'm a brother. I'm a father. I'm just a down to earth guy who just like good vibes, good people, good energy. I'm a true believer that good energy is contagious. So, I try and keep things simple. I don't overthink things. I really just try and move the way life comes, and I navigate that way. So. I think you just
absolutely. Yeah. I was just saying, absolutely. You have to. You said, just positive energy is contagious, right? And, you know, if I come in with a nasty attitude or you come in with a nasty, you know, that's, we talked earlier, you know, transference of energy, right?
Yeah.
Energy can be very, very strong, right? It can be positive or it can be negative. So you just got to be careful with which way you come in, and you got to be careful what you're allowing in your space, right? You got to be careful about that. And so I know a lot of your work is centered around like protecting your energy and creating those boundaries. So talk to me a little bit about, what is Be the Flow, right? You are Mr. Be the Flow, you know, and on social media as Mr. Be the Flow. And give me quick, what's that Instagram handle?
Instagram, you can follow me at Be the Flow 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Be the Flow is a vibe. I mean, it really is about you know, being the flow of that positive energy, being the flow of that love. I mean, it's really whatever you need it to be. So much of like everyday life is work, right? I mean, work is never easy. I mean, but I just feel like, you know, when I was in a space, you know, I was in a space, I'm in a really dark space where I stopped loving myself. You know, I was overweight, you know, I was partying too much, you know, life was just like it was spiraling, and I needed to make a change. And I knew at that moment that, you know, I wasn't being the best version of myself. So I decided to be the flow of that love, that good energy, that good vibe that I knew that was in me. You know, I always had it in me, but along the way, I lost it, and I had to find a way to get it back.
That's what's up. That is what's up. So I'm assuming 2016 is the year that you found to Be the Flow, right?
Yes, correct. That was actually the year my daughter was born, and that's when I had to change. You know, I had to put on my big boy pants, realize that life is no longer just a party. It was no longer about me. Because again, I was single, moving and grooving through the city, doing my thing, coaching college ball, traveling, just living life, loving it. But life changed when I knew I was going to be a father, and it needed to. It had to, you know. So 2016 is a huge year when I knew I had to grow up.
Wow, that's dope. That's really dope. But that's what happens, right? Our children tend to grow us up. They change our lives for the better. And so I'm proud of you to hear you even say, man, you have to put your big boy pants on.
Yeah, I'm telling
you know, she needed an example, right? She needed an example of food. So not only did you have to be the flow, you had to be the father, right?
No doubt. I mean, she's amazing. I mean, honestly, she holds me accountable on a whole nother level, you know, because I mean, she looks at me like a superhero. You know, she thinks daddy can't do no wrong, even though daddy still, you know, every day is work. You know, every day, some work that I have to do to try and continue to be the best version of myself. And a lot of times when I find myself, not doing that, it's easy as just looking at my phone, my screensaver, seeing that smiling face, seeing her going to her school, or just picking her up, hugging her, and that just gets everything back on point.
Man, that's good. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. A lot of our girls need that, right? They need that positive energy and image. You know, sometimes we figure, oh, a kid didn't come from a two-parent home, their life must be tragic, or they must have come from some type of bad background, or a kid came from a two-parent home, so their life must be perfect. And that's not always the case, right? It's, you know, you can have two parents in a household, but if it's chaotic and it's toxic, then what are you showing your children? So, man, I appreciate you for lifting that up and for just being the father that you are to your daughter. Because as you are the father that you are to her, you're creating a better woman. You're creating a better little girl. She's going to be a better friend to someone. She's going to know what love is and know how to receive love and exude love. So that's beautiful. I appreciate that. So talk to me a little bit about, your background. Like we talked about the West Side. Okay, we know you're from the West Side, basketball player. So funny thing is you played basketball in college. I was a cheerleader in college. And so, you know, that was pretty cool too, right? LU.
No doubt.
Shout out to Lewis University, Flyers in Romeoville.
But
yeah. LU, yeah. And so, and you were what? And weren't you in like the Hall of Fame or something?
Yeah, I got into the all-decade team, the 90s all-decade team. I mean, it's amazing because I recently just did a radio show over the past weekend. Shout out to Illinois radio. And it's so funny because they started off the show just talking about my athletic career. And for some reason, I felt so awkward and uncomfortable talking about
it. Not Big Freeze.
I'm telling you, it just feels like a lifetime ago.
Wow.
It really does, because the one thing I've learned through my self-growth journey is that for so long, I identified just as an athlete.
Yeah.
Like Walker, hey, you can't tell me nothing. Here I come. And, and- and that, for so long, that's the way I moved. And you know what? Honestly, Nate, that's when the struggle really began in my life, because when I had to transition from being Big Freeze and this basketball player to transition into just being Scott, I was like, wait, what? Nobody's telling me before. No one's patting me on my back and like putting me on this pedestal. Like life got real quick.
Yeah.
It got real quick. I had to find something I was good at, and that's when actually life started spiraling, because I dove into partying. I was partying there. I'm living a lifestyle I couldn't even afford. But I was trying to hold on to something. And the beauty about it is, it's like I tell people when I have opportunities to speak, is that it's always the other side to it. No matter where you are in life, no matter if you're 20, 30, 40, no matter where you are in life, if you in a tough space, if you in that dark place, it's always another side to it. But you have to be willing to put in the work, and you have to find out what works for you.
Absolutely. That's key. What works for you? Because what works for some may not work for others. I was having a conversation earlier with some young people just about protecting your energy, right? Knowing like, you may be, we're talking about spirituality and religion and things like that. So just, talking to them like, I'm glad you are in the prime of your life and you are in the space where you are open to things, but you have to know what works for you, and what works for you may not work for the next person. So that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about this self-care movement, this proactive care. So tonight's topic is self-care is proactive care. So what's your perspective on that? Like when I first sent you, first of all, thank you again for being here. But when I first sent you that topic, like self-care is proactive care, I'm sure it resonated with you. Just talk about some of your Instagram videos that you're doing, your TikTok videos.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, it's important, and it's in my mission statement that self-care, self-love, it's not selfish. It's necessary. Everyone needs an outlet. I don't care what your career is. If you're a full-time student, everyone needs to decompress. Because if you continue just to pile it on, it gets heavy. And you gotta find an outlet. And the thing that works for me is I start my morning every day, Nate, with morning meditation. Just being mindful, just sitting on the edge of the bed, counting my breath, just not tripping about what happened yesterday, not future tripping on what's gonna happen tomorrow. I'm just staying present in the moment. And that meditation just kind of, it moves me through the day to get to that exercise. Because I mean, once some endorphins get the pumping, you sweating, getting all them toxins out. It just works. So meditation, exercise is something that's impactful in my life. Because I mean that's really what jump started the Be the Flow movement, being able to have the Be the Flow wellness program. So that's something that I started when I started the movement, because these were the tools that helped me get out of my funk. So I was like, if this works for me, maybe it'll work for somebody else. So let me get that back. So shout out to Maryville Academy, who've always sponsored me, had my back. They always gave me a facility to offer free meditation, yoga, fitness. So bringing yoga and meditation, yoga and fitness to the West Side for free. It was dope, because the first time I did it, Nate, 6 people showed up.
Wow.
Like, man, what am I doing? Like, did I advertise enough? Did I put the word out there? But then that next Saturday, I had 26 people. So it just kept building. The momentum kept building. I had people from coming out of town joining it. I had different yoga instructors just wanting to be involved. And that was my biggest group. To be honest, men and women from all over the city were coming to the wellness program because they wanted to learn yoga. I'm 6'5", 270.
I was gonna say that had to be a sight to see, because you big freeze, you're an athlete, right? And so, were you leading the classes, or did you have instructors that were leading the classes?
Well, I had instructors definitely leading the yoga portion of it. I led the fitness portion, but then I had different people leading the mindfulness, the meditation. Sometimes I would lead that, but it was just people. Like that's why you can never underestimate people. because
Yes.
they saw what I was doing, and everybody was inquiring, like, "Yo, this is dope. How can I help? Like, what can I do?" And people donating bottled cases of water and bringing, salads and like
Awesome.
just wanting to be involved with the movement. And then boom, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So that just killed a lot of the momentum. But again, here we are again, getting that momentum back. Thank God the social media outlets. I've been able to be present with the movement. And shout out to my TikTok people. I'm telling you, Nay, these people.
You got followers, man.
Listen, it's been crazy. When I tell you, a couple of weeks ago made a year. When the pandemic hit, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about TikTok. But when the pandemic hit, I ended up joining. And here we are now, 60,000 followers later. These people have like showed up and showed out. And when I say that, I relaunched my Be The Flow store. And for anybody who see me, I'm always rocking Be The Flow swag. But to be clear, I do not have a clothing store. Like I tell people, it's not a clothing store. Be The Flow swag is really conversation starters. When people see me, or see anybody who's wearing Be The Flow gear, the first question they think it's music, right? They think it's
because of headphones.
Because the headphones, but the headphones are symbolic to block out the noise. So trust me, music is so therapeutic to me.
It is.
And that's why, the TikToks come out the way they come out, because it's always about the music and the message. Sometimes I'm just having fun with the music, doing my little thing, but so much of it is synergy. I make sure the message is either something I went through, I'm currently going through.
Yeah.
Know that it just spoke to me on a whole nother level. So connecting it with the music, doing my little dancey dance with the coffee. it's just that's what I do. So
that's your thing. It works for you though, right? And people get caught on.
Yeah, it's been dope. It's been dope. So many people. The cool thing about TikTok is like people can duet you. So I get duets all the time. People in their car doing their thing, dancing, and it's just been dope, man. This whole ride so far since the relaunch has been amazing. I ship stuff every day, whether it's to New Jersey, California, Texas, Wichita, Kansas, Idaho. People are being the flow in their city, and I love it. And the beauty about it is proceeds of every purchase in my store goes back to the Be The Flow backpack giveaway that I've been doing for the last 4 years.
Wow.
And it's been amazing because we've been able to service over 150 Black and brown little boys and girls right here on the West Side at my mom's house in the yard. We have a live DJ. We have vendors coming out with free food and cupcakes. And it's a vibe. It's just a whole vibe. And we have over 150 backpacks stuffed with school supplies. I'm talking about scientific calculators, pens, paper, folders, spiral notebooks. And now because of TikTok, and the people who've been supporting the store, I can already service over 200 kids right now if we had the backpack giveaway.
Wow.
It's been amazing, Nate. Seriously.
So what month does your backpack giveaway normally take place? Is it August or?
It's Labor Day weekend. So
okay, we're going to put that in the banner for the people.
Yeah,
okay.
Labor Day weekend is the Be The Flow backpack giveaway Saturday morning. My family, shout out to my family. They so dope. They've been very supportive of the movement. Every year we have a family reunion, family party, we call it now. And we've been doing it for over 40 years. This past year we couldn't do it because of the pandemic, as well as a backpack giveaway. But every year for the past 40 years, family from everywhere, from Boston, New York, Texas, Cali, Michigan, all come to Chicago. And we party for 3 days in Chicago. And
wow.
That Friday, my family always helped me. Like we just stuffing backpacks, putting a whole bunch of school supplies in there. And then Saturday morning, we all about the people. We putting up tents. The DJ comes set up. He's doing his thing. The vendors are there. And families just come from all over. When I tell you the backpack left, it's amazing. It's
That's
truly
beautiful.
Yeah. Just to get, it's been dope.
I'm about to blow your mind. So I was going through a photo album that I had. Well, I got several photo albums, but I remember you gave us these when you graduated. I think it was like your basketball photos when you graduated college. I still got that picture.
What?
I remember coming to your graduation party in your mom's backyard. So
Yeah.
your mama been throwing them parties for a long
I'm
time.
trying to tell you, my family know how to party, man. That's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's always a celebration, right?
Yeah.
You know, we should celebrate every day just for life. You know, like
Yes.
being able to just be here and be present, and to be about service. To be able to give back
Yeah.
to those who may need it. And it's funny because like even I remember the last backpack giveaway. A mom walked up to me. She was like, "Who are you? Like, are you famous?" I'm like, no.
Did you play with the Bulls?
Right,
You got the height.
She was like, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "So why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Well, why not?" And she was like, "Wow!" Like she literally broke down in tears because she had like 6 kids with her. I think 4 was hers, and like she had a niece and nephew, but she was unemployed at the time, and like to have them all have brand new backpacks and all these school supplies, she was just overwhelmed with joy, and that's what it's about. I mean, that's what it's about.
That's awesome.
Being able to give back, being able to try and normalize the conversation of mental health, because there is a difference between mental health and mental illness. I mean,
absolutely,
there's a difference, and a lot of people, especially in our community, in the Black community, it's such a taboo topic.
Absolutely,
your feelings, to talk about how you may, how your anxiety may be off the chain, or maybe, maybe you in a funk, you're going through depression.
Yeah.
You know what? Just go ahead and pray. God gonna fix it for you, baby.
You're gonna be fine.
You know what? Yes, I love my Lord and all that, but it's still tools that you can use, men and women, boys and girls, that you can do, like you said, with the self-care and, self-love, being able to help you on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's interesting that you said that. Well, one, you said something a while back about the head. We were talking about the headphones, right? And I immediately thought too, it's blocking out the noise. And you have to block out that noise because it's coming at you from every which way, right? And so if you can't block out the noise, then you can't hear God speak to you. So I literally started this past week. Crazy thing is, you mentioned meditation. I always get up and I start in prayer, but I started getting up, following my prayer with meditation, being very intentional, opening up the curtains in the bedroom, finding my space in my room, either lighting a candle or incense, but just setting that atmosphere so that I can get to the place where I'm setting the tone for my day. Made an amazing difference, huge difference. And so I'm looking to follow that up, because it just, we have to be intentional about setting the tone for our day. You can't just get up and move and flow, because you're liable to run into anybody, have any type of conversation or any type of interaction that could either rub you the wrong way or rub that next person the wrong way. So we have to be intentional, like you said, about blocking out that noise. I wanted to talk a little bit. So we were talking about mental health and, in the Black community, how it's so taboo. And I'm grateful. I think we're moving slowly, very slowly. I think the needle is moving away from that. But, even for myself, people like you and I, we strong, we leaders, we this, we that. We're not supposed to have, mental health crises or breakdowns or depression or, anxiety or any of those things. And you couldn't have told me that I would have the year that I had early this year. I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, was on medication. People wouldn't know it because I'm still showing up. I'm still smiling. I still got to run 3 programs at the university. I still got to get up in a pulpit when I'm, and it's my duty as a lay minister. I still got to preach. I may have to help lead Bible study. I still got to show up. We're always on. And so when do you really get the time to be off, to process what you're dealing with and what you're going through? So you're absolutely right. Therapy. I'm a huge advocate of therapy. I'm a advocate of prayer, advocate of therapy, advocate of meditation, advocate of yoga, all of the above. Find what works for you, but do something. You got to do something, because if not, you'll be somewhere driving yourself crazy. And your loved ones, you'll be driving them crazy in the process.
I think, everything you said, I totally agree with, because again, like, I say it all the time, like, people really have to find what works for them, because again, people all the time are in my DMs or inbox like, so like, how do you get out your funks? Like when you're in a funk, and I'm like, well, this is what works for me. I can't tell you what to do because I don't know your story.
Yeah.
But again, I'm telling you, mindfulness, I tell everybody, if you haven't tried mindfulness, meditation,
Yep.
try it. Because again, it really puts you in a space of peace. And people ask me all and say, you can't always be this up and you can't always be this happy. And guess what? I'm not. I'm human. I'm not always happy. I'm not always up. It's times I go days without posting on social media. And shout out to my people on Instagram, TikTok. They inbox me or DM me like, yo, you good?
You right?
Like, you all right? We ain't seen no content. We haven't seen that smile or, you bouncing in the car. And, but sometimes I need that. I need to take that mental health break because maybe I'm going through something. Right?
This him, y'all. This kind of music. Well, he always got to have a Be the Flow bottle, though.
I'm trying to tell you. So I just, I'm a huge believer that, we all have purpose. We all have purpose. We all were put on this planet to make a difference, to inspire others.
Yeah.
Once I was able to get on the other side of not identifying as just an athlete and understanding that my purpose on this planet was much more than putting a ball in the basket, is, life changed. Because again, I've always knew I had something in me special. Like, honestly, since I was a kid, I knew it was something. But along the way, again, my lane, shout out to Jim Weitzel for giving me a scholarship and Max Curlin for, giving me that guidance. Basketball opened up a million doors for me. Mm-hmm. I'm very blessed that basketball allowed me a free education, be able to travel the world. But I'm telling you, Nate, that's when the struggle, when the ball stopped and I wasn't, an athlete anymore, or I wasn't a coach anymore, like a college basketball coach, I was lost. I was truly lost. And I didn't know how to just be Scott.
Yeah.
So again, when I say those dark times, I mean, Nate, I was in a bad place. I was like 50, 60 pounds overweight, drinking way too much, partying, spending money that I didn't have, maxing out cars just because I needed something to hold on to that I thought I was good at. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm good at partying. Let's go. But then one day, I woke up and I literally looked myself in the mirror, did not recognize the man I saw.
Wow.
I broke down crying. Like, I cried for like 20 minutes. Like, yo, like, who are you, dog? Like, what are you doing? What have you done with Scott?
Yeah.
And it took me to stand in my truth. And I tell people all this.
Truthfully speaking.
You feel me? But I tell everybody this, that you can't begin to live until you actually stand in your truth. You have to look yourself in the mirror, face your demons, and be honest with yourself. Like too much of anything is not good. So you have to find that balance in your world. I continue, prayer is powerful. But you also have to be accountable about, things that you may need to change in your life, and one thing that another thing that I say is, like, when you talk about healing, like straight up true healing, you have to ask yourself, what role are you playing in your own suffering?
Yes.
So when you can look at yourself and answer those questions, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And start making those changes. I'm telling you, the vibe will shift, everything.
Yes. Yeah. I went through back in 2009, right after my mom passed, December 2008. And then in 2009, the sisters that I do SIMSA with, we embarked upon a Sankofa project, right? We went through this, it was about maybe 5 or 6 months. It was a rite of passage journey for adult women. We were running the SIMSA program, the Safe in My Sister's Arms camps. And we were, taking these girls through this process and helping them kind of, get to their truth and, work through things in their past. But many of us were 30 and 40 years old and hadn't done that yet. So we went through this process. We allowed ourselves to go through this process with Dr. Pamela Phoenix. And it was an amazing experience. But we learned through that process that sometimes the enemy is the inner me, right? It's the person within, the enemy is the inner me. And so you have to be willing to recognize, like you said, what role are you playing in your own demise, right? We want to always point the finger. He did, she did, he said, she said, you know what I mean? But there, at some point, there's a common denominator in all of that. And that common denominator is most oftentimes you. And so very, very powerful. You mentioned Maryville. I think I mentioned to you, I worked for Maryville for 4.5
I
years.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, Brother James wrote me my first letter of recommendation to start working for Maryville. So, man, shout out to Maryville Academy.
Man, that's
man, I got to see him about it right before the pandemic. I got to see him at an event, and then he invited me to campus for lunch. And so I went and had lunch with him and some of the brothers that Christmas break. And so I'm like, he don't age.
Right.
He out here being his own flow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So did you have some personal experiences? So I know you said you just talked about this whole like awakening that you had where it was almost like an identity crisis. You had to come to find out, no, I ain't Big Freeze no more. I ain't just number, what were you, 44?
Number 44. You know
44. I'm right. I'm cheering for it, right? But you had to, who is that beyond that, right? Who is that beyond the coach? And so you had this awakening moment, and that's huge for you. Were there any other experiences, becoming a father, you had this awakening where you were trying to self-identify, who am I now? Any other experiences that further helped shape who you are today?
Well, again, it's just life, because again, every day is work. Every day I learn something new about myself. Some things it makes me smile, like, damn, you kind of know. And other things I'm like, dude, get yourself together. Like, come on now. But just along the whole journey, I'm telling you, you humble yourself because, like I said, like during those times, I was a newlywed. I was recently married. I was a new father, and like I didn't know why am I not happy? Like these are supposed to be the best years of my life, right? New love and a new baby, and just had this amazing wedding in the Virgin Islands and all this stuff, and I'm like, why am I not happy? But it was so much, like you said, that with that enemy in the inner me.
Yeah. There you go. It's across the screen.
Exactly. Like it was just so many things that I refused to confront. And like you said, we talked about therapy. I'm gonna tell everybody, if you haven't done it, do it.
Man,
therapy changed my life. I'm telling you, Nate, my not the first session, because I was a little bit like, I ain't about to tell them,
usually not trying to be strong.
Right, but now I'm telling you, that second session, I went through the whole box of Kleenex. I'm trying to tell you, like it was just a weight that was just, because again, I felt like I was in a safe place to be vulnerable. Because again, another thing I advocate for in the movement is like I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mother and father were amazing parents. But my father was old school, boys don't cry. You fall, get up, boy. What emotions? What are those? So as I continue to navigate through life, like the whole idea of like expressing how I felt, especially like I probably like screwed up a lot of relationships because I was that brick wall where I couldn't be vulnerable. I couldn't allow myself to be in that space at that particular time. But now you can't get me to stop talking about how I'm feeling, my goddamn feelings and my emotions. But that's where I'm at. And there's so many men I know probably like they rocking the same way I'm rocking, thinking that you can't be vulnerable. Like you can't cry. It's going to take away your masculinity. Like, no, sometimes I just, I get a good cry in once a month. Like, yo, I need to let it out.
Man.
And that weight is heavy. Regardless if you're trying to be the best father or the best co-worker or the best brother, sometimes life just, it leans on you. And that's okay. Yeah. Because again, what are we doing to like stay on point, to find that balance, to see, again, like I said, finding what works for you. So,
man, that's real.
Yeah,
that is real. That's dope. So so who would you say if you had to identify, because I know you work with what, middle school or high school students? Middle school.
Yeah.
Right.
We're primary school is K, like the whole school is K through 8.
K through 8.
Our primary work with the younger kids, and it's dope because they are so honest.
And they keep you honest, and they're gonna call you out.
They so
you
honest.
Fat today.
They have no filter, and I love it. But yeah, shout out to Kip too. I've been there now. I think this is year 8, year 9.
Wow. What's your role at Kip?
Right now, the what is it? student support coordinators, like my time,
Okay.
like
AKA Dean of Students.
basically, like, I deal with all the behaviors and stuff.
Yeah.
They just changed the title this year
Yeah.
because Dean of Students sounds so punitive. But again, like, it's a very proactive place. The kids, it's a tough neighborhood, man. Like, it's right there in North Lawndale.
I used to work at North Lawndale College Prep, so I know.
You already know, man. It's shootings over there every day.
Yeah.
It's rough. But those kids, the community, I mean, I love it because I'm so connected with the families that, again, you wake up every day with purpose because you know at some point you're going to impact somebody, whether it's a student, whether it's a coworker, because they know when coach walk in the building, I'm bringing that energy. I'm always bringing that vibe. And even when I don't feel like being on, I know those kids are looking at me like, like with big old eyes. So I always, when I walk in there, I'm on. I bring it. That positive energy when kids, like, even especially before pre-pandemic, like, every day was high fives and hugs. A lot of these kids don't get that at home.
Nope.
A lot of these,
don't nobody ask you how your day was,
right. A lot of these kids don't even, parents don't tell them how amazing they are. They don't, like, put their, highlight their gifts and their abilities to do certain things. So I try and lift them up, man. I try and lift them up, every day. I try, tell somebody how amazing they are. Because these kids these little black and brown boys and girls, like, they need it. They need that love. And the cool thing about this year, since we just transitioned back in the building, we have a new block that we call the enrichment block. And I lead mindfulness. So I have like a group of like 25 to 30 kids, and we straight up in there and they meditate. And
I love it. I love it.
But it's optional. The cool thing about it is it's optional for families.
And they want to be there.
That's the
But you know what's beautiful, Scott? You're working in the same community that you grew up in. So that's another attraction. You're a magnet for these kids because they see themselves like, oh man, he was us once. He went to the schools out west, so they get to see themselves in you, right? And you, vice versa, you get to see yourself in them. So that's more motivation for you to get up and come to work every day. Because when you were little, what did you aspire to be? Like, what were your career goals?
Oh, goodness. I had so many. First, I thought I was going to be a pilot.
Okay. Hence Lewis.
Right. Then what did I think? Oh, then I thought I was going to be the next Stuart Scott, a sports commentator, do sports commentary. And then, of course, want to be like Mike. Thought I was going to go to the NBA and all that stuff, live this lavish lifestyle. But then I really, I really found the passion to coach because, as a coach, you truly are a teacher. And the cool thing about me is that I've always had amazing coaches in my life. I mean, because, they taught me so much more than just the game of basketball. They always, even from elementary, from, Coach Laws, just talking about accountability, like being, showing up with effort every time. And then going to high school playing for Max Curlin, if you on time, you late. So always getting there a little extra early, putting up some extra shots, putting in the work, and then going to play for Jim White. So Coach White. So I mean, he was so demanding of us, and he used to always challenge me. Like if I was playing, if I didn't have the best game, he'd be like, "Rouse, you're not from the West Side. I thought you gotta come on and bring it." And, like whatever, dude. Like I could take it, because he can yell at me, scream at me. Because I knew it was coming from a place of love.
Yeah, absolutely.
This man was recruiting me since my freshman year in high school.
Wow.
So he's known me since I was 15 years old. So to go play for him and then work for him after my playing days was truly something special because he taught me so much about just life and being able to like be more than an athlete. So shout out to Jim Weiss for all
Good. That's what's up. So what's your vision for the movement? Because like you said, it just kind of started and it's taken off, especially with TikTok. When you had to teach me how to do the videos. I call myself trying to do a duet. I wanted to do the duet for the guy that was doing the Chicago accent challenge.
Okay.
Because I say things like car, daughter, water,
I'm right there with you.
And so I want to learn how to do the duet. You have to teach me. But like, what's your vision for the movement? Where do you see this going?
Well, the next level again is just being able to be the flow in every city. Like the goal is to take the wellness program to travel with it. I love sharing my story. There's no shame. There's no guilt. My journey is exactly that. My journey.
That's right.
But I talk about pain, passion, and purpose when I have opportunities to speak. So when you talk about the movement, I want to continue to go to different cities. I've actually just got my first paid speaking that's coming up at the end of the month, which I'm excited about because these are like total strangers that found me on social media that just been watching. They've been watching and they're like, dude, what you're doing is dope. I would love for you to come talk to our group. And again, those are the three things I talk about is pain, because we all have it, right? We all have a story. We all went through something that didn't allow us to be the best version of ourselves, right? But then, through the work, you find that passion that pulls you out. And then as that momentum continues to build, you understand your purpose. And I think my purpose is here to advocate for those who feel uncomfortable to talk about mental health, those who feel uncomfortable to talk about their emotions. Because for so long, I was that guy. I was that guy. And people all the time like, oh my God, to see a Black man advocate for mental health and to stand in your truth and to wear it on your chest and don't be ashamed. I mean, so you can't move through this with shame. You just because there's if I'm talking to you and there's nothing authentic coming out if I'm really not being transparent about what it is. So as far as the movement, I want to continue to build it by sharing my story, having opportunities to talk. Again, the online store is, all the swag in there is literally conversation starters. I want people to feel comfortable, to normalize. If you happen to be the flow tumbler or a water bottle or a t-shirt or anything, and someone say, be the flow, what is that? You say it with your chest. It's a movement that advocates for mental health and wellness through self-love. Because again, I stopped loving myself like I did. I was a mess. And I had to start loving myself again to be the flow. And here we are as we continue to move and build this thing.
Yeah, good one. Very good. So that's amazing. I'm an advocate about your purpose, walking in your purpose. I named my daughter Purpose. Her name means purpose.
Awesome.
So you know what I mean? So I'm always about, man, you got to live in your purpose and your truth and honoring who you are. That's why I wrote the book. That was some vulnerable stuff in that book, right? People were like, but if it's going to help heal somebody else, if it's going to remind somebody else that you're not alone or you're not the only person that's gone through that or that's going through that and that you can overcome from that, then so be it. God will take care of the rest of it for me, as far as I'm concerned. So truly, truly thankful for you sharing tonight. Well, I'm trying to see if there's any questions in the chat. This has been so amazing. Anything else you want to share about us? So we know you got the backpack movement coming up, the giveaway rather.
Yeah. So, people who go to the store, again, it's a P.O. box on there. Thank you all for the support and the love. I've already have people shipping me school supplies to my P.O. box. Because again, it's all about the give back. I just kind of think it's a win-win. Not only do you get quality dope gear, but you also get to give back to a community that's true to my heart, man. You know how I feel about the West Side. All day, every day, West Side, baby. But I'm telling you, Nate, to see these faces of the families when they walk up and they're getting it, seeing these little boys and girls getting these backpacks and the smiles on their faces. And, I'm getting chill bumps right now because again, it's just dope because, I just know, I've always grew up with service in my family. Even as a kid, my grandmother used to wake me and my siblings and my cousins up early in the morning. Her and Miss Snodgrass would go, they would cook all this food and then we'll go on Green in Madison and feed the homeless.
Wow.
And it was like, I'm doing this as a kid. I'm mad. I want to watch cartoons or like go play ball or something. But every weekend, my grandma would wake us up to give back. Because, and again, one day as I started getting older, I'm like, Grandma, why are we doing this? And then she looked at me. It's like, one day this could be you.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, life throws all different type of bullets at you, man. And some of these people used to be doctors, lawyers, had a family, but here they are. And you know what? If I can do something to give back, to give them a meal, that's what we gonna do.
That's what's up.
And it made me understand how important service was. I mean, I started at Lewis as a communications major, and along the way, I ended up changing to social work and human services because even though I knew it wasn't a lot of money in social work, I just knew at that point, and I didn't even know. I just knew like giving back always gave me a sense of like, like that's the reward. It wasn't about the dollars. It was just about that sense of like, I like that feeling. So again, I tell everybody, man, like if you can do anything to put a smile on somebody's face, do it. I mean,
sometimes all you gotta do is smile. You know what I mean?
That's it. It's so weird. I'm out in public and I say hello to people, like hello, and they look at me like, Chicago. Chicago. We going 100 miles an hour. So when somebody speak to you and smile, they looking like, whoa, like what? Oh, okay, that was different.
I get people to ask me, "Are you from down south?" No.
Yeah.
You got down south? No.
It's energy, man. Like, good energy truly is contagious, man. And I said the other day, I went live on TikTok because it was like 4 days that I didn't post any content, and people were reaching out, checking on me, make sure I was good, and I was good. It was just that if I don't feel it, if it's not authentic, if it's not coming from a place where I know the message and the music can, touch somebody, I just don't post. Yeah, I'm just gonna get on there to be like, hey, no, I don't do that. I'm fully like, and again, I don't practice it. I don't like find a song or a message the night before. I literally get up, I, do my mindfulness, grab my coffee, and I'm scrolling. And then I hear a song like, ooh, 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 and then I either like take a quote from a former coach or something I stumbled across in my lifetime, or like some of the different quotes that I, positive affirmations I have on the Be the Flow page, and I post it. I connect the music with the message, and I push it out there to the people. And hopefully that inspires somebody, or like, just put a smile on somebody's face.
And Scott, it's not even that you're spending a lot of time doing this. Yeah, you got to put it all together. But your videos, are they even a minute?
No, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and look at the impact.
Seconds, it's 8 to 15 seconds tops.
Right.
We know people's attention span is terrible. So
yes.
I try and keep them quick, but at the same time, like you said, the impact. If you feeling the vibe, because again, like I said, music is therapeutic to me. Music has helped me through some dark days. But at the same time, like music always makes me smile. Like I don't care, because my mom and dad, like, on the weekends, they used to put on those vinyl records. Michael Jackson was big. And then, we doing that cleaning as a family. But it was always music. My mom cooking in the kitchen, it was always music. And I'm going to say this out loud. There's nothing better than 90s R&B. Ever.
Thank you. My daughter wishes she was born in the 90s. My daughter says, I was born in the 90s. I just wasn't released till 2002. When she was home over Christmas break, this chick had me helping her watch 90s movies, 90s TV shows. She hey, do your thing, kid.
Music
it definitely was the best.
Music is not the same. Yeah. But again, that was something that was big in my home, and my family normalized it. Like we had all the vinyl records. And it always was moving. Music was always moving. So, it's a big part of my life. I listen to music all the time when I work out. And then again, when I'm pushing out content, it's always about the music and the message.
Yeah. Awesome. Any final thoughts you want to share with the folks before we wrap up this evening?
Yeah, no doubt. Something, again, that I post on my Instagram, I always try and come with like the vibe of the day. To start my day off. Again, people who come to the page, who looks for inspiration. At the bottom, right above the website, I always say, stay present, be kind, and live free. And when I say that, I truly mean, like, stay present. Like, don't trip about yesterday because, I mean, it's over. Don't even worry about what's going to come your way tomorrow. Like, literally just stay present and take it as it comes. And you'll be able to navigate that much.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry all that. And then be kind. Not only being kind to others, but be kind to yourself. Sometimes you gotta give yourself some grace.
Give
right?
yourself some grace.
You got to give yourself some grace because we're not perfect. And what is perfection, right? Like, I say it all the time. You have to give yourself grace and be kind to yourself because, again, it's enough coming your way where you don't have to put much more on yourself. And then live free. I do not like being put in a box. Like, don't put me in a box. I'm too much energy. I will. But I tell people, like, live free. Don't allow people to put you in a box. If you want to go for something, if you want to do something, do it. Because guess what? You might fail. I don't know what's going to happen with the Be the Flow movement, but you know what? I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep working. Maybe I get a partnership with somebody. Maybe I really do take this to the next level, but I believe it's going to happen. I'm manifesting it. I pray on it.
There you go.
And this is what's going to happen because, I don't allow myself to be put in a box. And I do live free. I don't care what people think about me.
I know that's right.
And I'm going to rock the way I rock. I'm going to continue to advocate for what I'm advocating for. And so take that. I just want people to take that with them, man. Stay present, be kind, and live free.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So look, y'all heard it from Scott's mouth himself. Stay present, be kind, live free. And that's all we can do, right? We get one life. My guy says every day, if something has happened the day before, every single morning, the next morning today is a new day. Today is a new day. And we are grateful. We have to be grateful to be able to see it because somebody didn't wake up to see that day. And so just be grateful, for the life that you've been blessed with. It may not be perfect. You may not be living what you want to live or what you thought you'd live. But at the end of the day, like, God has blessed you with life and he has called us to live life and live it more abundantly. So, man, the world is our oyster. I tell my daughter all the time, and her father tells her all the time, the sky is not your limit. You can go beyond the sky if you want to. The sky is not your limit. Don't let nobody put you in a box. Exactly. Like Scott just said, don't let anybody, confine you to their idea of who you think you are. Some of us are in their 40s and just now getting to that place where they can speak their truth, live their truth, walk in their truth. You know what I mean? Some of us have allowed people to put us in boxes and allowed us to, this is who you should be, how you should be, where you should go, when you should go. Don't let nobody box you in. God has given us a lot of free grace, a lot of, room to explore who you are, explore, your mind, your body, your soul, all of those things. There's so many tools out there. I'm not going to stress it enough. Therapy. If you are struggling in your emotions, even if I mentioned earlier that I was struggling a few months ago. Like, I was crying, like, not even knowing why. I wasn't sleeping. I would be laying in the bed 5:45. I'd finally fall asleep. And then I got to turn around and get up, So, there are times when you don't talk to your doctor. Even it may not be a therapist, but start with your doctor and just be transparent. Like, look, I don't even know what's wrong. I literally didn't have a choice because I broke down crying in my doctor's office. And he said, I've never seen you this sad before, not even when you went through your divorce. Like, I'm like, I know, right? I'm like, I understand, but it's like, talk to someone because you got to get that out. Whatever you're struggling with, know that you are not alone. That, as much as social media is, out there for people, and as much as we talk about, oh, it's so negative, it's so toxic, it's so there's a lot of good community in social media. There are a lot of good groups and communities. Find your community. Find your community, whether it's an online community, whether it's a gym, whether it's a cycling class, whatever it is, but find your community and feel safe within your community. The SIMSA program and the Simple program that I work with, we, safe in my brother's arms and safe in my sister's arms, right? Create a community, find a community. If there is no community, create the community. Be what you expect, right? So if what you expect is not present, then you got to create it. One of the reasons we had a Simsa, because I question, why was there no Simsa? Well, because you ain't created it yet. If God put it in your heart to create, he put it in your heart to do, then you have to be obedient and do that. So I just wanted to encourage you guys this evening. I'm off my soapbox. We got a few comments. We got some love it, some 100%. All right, we're keeping it 100. Thank you, Melinda. Thank you, cousin Linda. Thank you, Katrina, for checking in, for Terrence for checking in. We thank you guys for viewing with us this evening. Again, I am your host, your girl, Dr. Nay. Truthfully Speaking with Dr. Nay is the name of the show. Typically, I want to be transparent. We typically do the show on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. But just to a last minute scheduling change and to accommodate the schedule, thank you, Scott, for your flexibility. We chose to do it tonight. So we Truthfully Speaking on a Thursday night. Stay tuned for next month. Next month, I know it's Father's Day, or Fathers are celebrated during the month of June. So we'll find us a nice, handsome, strong Black father to celebrate. And we're also going to celebrate some special relationships that I have with some sisters that I call my co-mamas. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, follow the page, be on the lookout. I am working with a producer, so I'm excited. We're going to get us a real show, y'all. We're going to have music and all type of stuff. We're going to get some sponsors. So, and we look forward, Scott, when it's time for you to do your backpack giveaway. You are more than welcome to come back. We want to highlight that and lift that up as well. I'm encouraging you, if they bring the Bud back, go on, get in the Bud Bilkin Day Parade. I help you how I can. But yeah, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for sharing with us, and continue, everybody. Stay present, be kind, live present. God bless.